Morning, Joe. Okay. All right, guys. Good morning again. I'm Dan with the Bullish Bears team. Going to go through the pre-market activity. We're going to take a look at stocks. We've got futures up here. Watching futures trade in a range today. It's Friday. Let's see what's going on in terms of the pre-market. Let's take a look at NBEV. So this one has been on everybody's minds. Hang on real quick. Let me remove this. So what you see with NBEV is getting really close to this top Fibonacci level around 1077. But we're starting to break through that 5-day, 5-minute support. So this could mean this is kind of a high, high angular momentum line that's being broken right now. You could see it go through. It picked it up here. It picked it up here. It's now, tested it for really 1, 2, 3. This is the 4th test, and it's broken down. So it's possible we see a wash on NBEV. But we'll watch the candlesticks. We'll look for, some type of falling wedge or reversal pattern, but below this angular momentum line, it might start to slow down, and maybe sell off a little bit. You got to remember too that it's experienced 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days of gains, and that's quite a bit. That's quite a bit. So this thing is many 100% over at this point. So we'll be watching this one. We'll see. There might be a good trade on it yet. CARA has retraced and actually is hitting this upper level resistance. This is actually connected to a peak. I'll show you guys a little further back. So here's a 30-minute chart that goes back a little bit further than 5 days. So you guys can see this thing has really been running. It's now kind of at the top of the channel, and there's a bit of a rising wedge on it. But CARA makes great moves. I mean, yesterday, like all the other pot stocks, this thing was really moving, and now you've seen it kind of reach this upper level of this channel. It could still squeeze out and go up to the next level, which I have marked out at about let's see, what's that number? About 2633. 2633 it looks like, roughly. So we'll kind of have to see. I don't like to buy these particular levels. I'd look for a better entry, maybe something lower off the channel, and then a move up and a good bullish pattern. But CARA nonetheless usually has a great price action, great trader stock. IGC, everyone's kind of looking at this one this morning. This is like right in the sweet spot, being a couple dollar stock. So it's getting a lot of attention. You can see it kind of broke out of this descending triangle. It's now on the 5-minute hitting this 269 level. I would expect a pullback a little bit, or maybe consolidation around 269. But if it breaks out, you got 285, and then above that, you've got some much higher levels. You can see this particular trend line up here. This is if this thing decides to go parabolic and break this 285 level, then I'd be looking for a bounce off of this trend line, and we'll day trade that kind of appropriately. So I think IGC is a good one to have on everyone's watch list. Let me skip over to DTEA. You could see right here on the hourly already kind of pulling back pretty hard from the highs. And we've been in this kind of descending triangle, and we're kind of consolidating now. I can actually remove this trend line at this point and look to see if this particular trend line holds it up. So that's what we're looking at here. This might continue to fan out. We'll see what kind of pattern kind of forms, but below VWAP, VWAP might be holding this down right now. If it can get above the 50 SMA on the 1 minute, this thing could really start to move again. Mind you, where we're at in terms of the moving averages, the 200 SMA is down around 350. That's quite a ways down here to this level. So that's about where it was kind of consolidating at yesterday before the move up. So just be cognizant of where your moving average is on the daily, and that will keep you focused on price targets and where to look at. EGC is another one moving up pre-market. Let's look at the daily setup on this first. We're on that topic. So the 9 EMA is around 758. So go ahead and mark that out as close as you can get to it. And you can see right there, we're already testing the 9 EMA on the daily. No coincidence, kind of stops right there. So, your next level of resistance as far as moving averages go is around 817. So you can kind of mark that zone up, and you can kind of anticipate, all right, is this gonna turn into a ascending triangle? What kind of pattern am I gonna get off of this? You could see this thing, maybe pulling back to a level like this, bounce, and as it gets tighter in the apex here, you start to take your position along the right angle for a squeeze to the upper level. So this one I think is definitely worth watching. It's got a nice range on it. NVAX also looking kind of like it might make some kind of ascending triangle pattern. It's very low volume typically, so not expecting any wild moves off of it. But the 200 SMA too as well, that's around 168, so you want to mark that out, and do this yourself every day. Watch these 50, these 200 SMA moving averages. Oh, I actually went up a little bit higher there. It's about 166. So there you go. So we're right up in that 200 SMA again. It loves that. These penny stocks love that 200 SMA. They'll kind of hit them and then they'll stop. So let's see what else we're looking at. We're looking at AMD. AMD's been range trading yesterday, falling wedge, broke out, consolidate, sideways. We're now actually above yesterday's close, which is great, and we could be heading back towards that 32 level on AMD, so that's a good 80 cents today. And get a good entry on a morning dip, maybe a morning dip down to 31.28 or lower. Then there's a good dollar to be captured on AMD. Every day you could pretty much capture about $1 because of the way it range trades. MZOR also on the gap scan this morning. This is actually above the 50 SMA. We can mark out 57, 56. So for some of you guys who like to trade a little higher price stocks, this might be something on your radar. I'm 3 cents off, but here we are right at that 200 SMA again. So not just penny stocks, all stocks will get stuck at those moving averages depending on how they trade and where they are on their daily chart. And we got NIO. We should really cover NIO. NIO is having trouble with 925. Look for price to react above 925 and possibly hit 950. But I've got some upper fib level targets that I'm watching. Would need some kind of a good pattern. Right now, the daily pattern is trying to put together, kind of like a scallop, up, try to get above the 9 EMA consistently. This thing could maybe start trending and get back up to those former highs. What you would want to do is also mark out candlestick close price. All right, so you got some daily, because this is a fairly new infantile chart. Mark out some daily close prices and get your lines on here so you know kind of what to look for with NIO. There's a lot more I'm going to continue to cover for the regular traders in the trade room. So if you're watching on YouTube and you guys are not a member of our community yet, head over to bullishbears.com, subscribe. You guys can join up. You can stick with us throughout the day. Our different trade rooms where we're talking about trading just all day long, looking at charts, looking for entries, signals, and bouncing ideas off each other, sharing charts. And we got guys who like to short. Some guys, everybody has a different strategy and setup, and you definitely got to stick with it and trade your setup. And you know, and not get distracted with what other people are talking about trading. If you see somebody talking about a setup that you don't like or is outside of your strategy, don't do it, right? You need to trade your setups, what you're comfortable with, and that's different for everybody. And that's why we try to teach you guys to stay centered and calm and focused on your strategy. You know, you don't have to trade my strategy. You don't have to trade David's or Red's or anybody who's in the trade room. They all have their favorite patterns. So, you know, go through the pre-market in the morning. If you're a day trader, you're going through and you're looking for your setup. What do you like, right? And I might hop around and cover 10 different stocks, but you might like 2 charts. Stay on those 2 charts. Don't follow me from chart to chart while I'm looking for my setup or whatever it is to find a stock that's running. Stick with your chart. A lot of times I'll chart something and I'll like the trade, but I'll forget to set an alert, or I'll go to another chart and then I miss it. So that can be really frustrating to for me, but that could be frustrating for you too. So, you know, grab your setup. Like, for example, I got 6 charts down here that I'm going to monitor throughout the morning, and some of these I might take off, some of them I might add. And I also have a trend spider chart off to my left. I got trade ideas, so I'm good to go. I got everything you could possibly want to day trade. So now I just need to wait for those setups. So I'm going to end the YouTube stream. So head over to our website, guys. If you want to stay with us, you can access the links to get the rest of the live stream. And have a great day.